Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about how to stand out online. So much of what we're doing is still online, and never before has it been more important to know how to stand out. So here are my 5 top tips on how you can stand out online. Tip number 1, you need to stand out visually. So you need to think about your background and what you're wearing. The easiest thing I can do is show you. This is rubbish. This doesn't work at all. My top just mixes in with the background and there is no contrast whatsoever. I'm not standing out online at all here. This is perfect, and that is because what I'm wearing contrasts with my background. You don't want a really plain white background and then to be wearing a white top as well, for instance. You want there to be some contrast so that when people are looking at the audience online, you really pop. And the reason that you want to stand out online visually is when people are looking at the audience, their eye line is drawn to you. So if they're going to the audience to see who's got a question, you're the first person that they are going to see. Tip number 2 to stand out online is to add some energy, some much needed energy to your online presentations or your online meetings. If you are somebody who brings energy, so some energy in their voice, you will automatically stand out, because most people speak very monotone and boring and completely forget there's an audience on the other end of that camera lens. So just by adding energy to your voice, enthusiasm to the way that you speak, you will 100% stand out. An easy way to do this is to add what I like to call the plus 10% method. If you want to know what that is, I've got a training course which is linked below. But essentially, this method is about just giving more, that extra 10% energy and enthusiasm to everything you say and do online. My third tip is a really important one, and that is to remember there is an audience at the other end of the camera lens. If you want to stand out online, watch breakfast news, any of those morning programs, and you can really see how people interact with the camera lens. They're interacting with the audience. And it's a really key thing that you can do with your online audiences in your meetings and your presentations. Imagining that the audience are there, even referencing some of them by name if you can, will really draw them in to what you're saying and will make it much more collaborative for you and your audience. Tip number 4 is something I've spoken about already on this channel. Here's a video where I talk a bit more about it, and that is sound. If you want to stand out online, you need to become obsessed with sound. What we're using at the moment is sound-based technology, so things like Zoom and Teams really pick up on background noise. If your dishwasher is on, for instance, but in your mind it's not very loud, believe me, your online platform will pick it up. So you want your space where you are presenting online or hosting an online meeting to be as quiet as possible. And to make the sound even better, once you've made your space as quiet as it possibly can be, invest in a microphone. The one that I use is linked below, but quite honestly, you can pick a good microphone up on Amazon. There are hundreds of them. Remember, when people log into online meetings and presentations, you are going to lose their attention really quickly. They're looking for reasons to coast and do other things. So if they cannot hear you properly or your sound is interrupted by the washing machine, they will just switch off. Tip number 5. To stand out online, make sure when you do have the opportunity to speak, so perhaps to ask a question, that you make sure it really lands with the audience. You make sure it's concise, you're on point, you're not waffling, and you're looking into that camera lens. As I always say, the quality bar for online communication is pretty low, and you don't need to do really drastic things to stand out. You can just do simple things like these. I hope these tips help. As always, let me know in the comments below if there are any topics you'd like me to focus on in future videos, and please do subscribe to this channel. I look forward to seeing you next week.